Karol, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have you here because you are going to tell us a bit more about a topic that we often don't talk about. It's technical debt, but we are going to look at it from a different angle. You are the co-founder, you are the CTO at Smily, and you've been running some of the projects to tackle technical debt. But usually the technical debt, at least from my understanding, is driven by developers, by programmers, by technical leads, just to remove some of the bugs or to make systems more reliable. But in your case, business initiated some of the initiatives to remove the technical debt, right? So this is what we are going to talk about: how to engage with the business people, how do you as the CTO get your message across, how do you engage with stakeholders across different departments. So I'm really excited about this discussion. So welcome to the show.
Hi, Miguel, thanks for having me. Definitely excited about what we are going to discuss today.
Awesome. So how do you even think about technical debt? Now, from all of these different angles, it's not as simple, not as straightforward as for some people it probably is. So how do you see technical debt?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question to start with. So maybe it would be worth going back into like the history, how the original term, the technical debt, was basically coined. So the author is Ward Cunningham, who is the co-author of Agile Manifesto. And back then, when he coined the metaphor of technical debt, it was really about how to budget for refactoring. So he basically made this metaphor for, with the financial debt, that you can deliver something faster or basically have the money that you don't have now and basically worry about the interest later. So in this case, we are really more about the code debt or something that is very close to the tech itself. But I don't think it really illustrates the magnitude of the problem that well, because the technical debt is definitely not a problem that is just within the technology, but it's something that impacts pretty much all of the areas of the business. And well, this topic is very close to me because for the over last year, it has been like a bread and butter to me because well, I've been the CTO of Smily for over 7 years, and the entire project really started in 2009, so it's been over 15 years. So we can imagine that the scale of the technical debt throughout all this time could have been really huge. And sometimes when I hear that after 5 years the technical debt is really dragging the business down, I'm kind of like, it's 5 years is really nothing compared to 15 years. It's 3 years almost feels like a greenfield project at that scale.
Wow. So I guess you accumulated lots of technical debt on the way, but also removed a significant part of it during the recent initiatives. So what was the impact of the technical debt on the bottom line across different departments? Like, how do you see this? So what does the discussion in your meeting room with other C-level executives look like?
Also, the impact was really on so many areas. So the first thing is really like reliability of the platform. So the reliability of the platform has definitely clear costs. So one thing is that the outages impact the customer churn. So if the amount of technical debt is big enough that the customer starts to lose trust, then it's already a clear signal. You can already map it to the monetary impact. Really the impact on the developers' productivity. Like if you have a team of 20 developers and you can see that the developers' productivity has been decreasing by 20%, then you can really map it to the clear monetary impact that is almost like losing 20% of your technical team in terms of the financial cost and impact on the product delivery, because because you can now deliver way slower than you would normally be able to. So the impact is really on the financial side, on the customer side, on the sales, because it can make the acquisition of the new customers harder, due to the reputation maybe of having unstable platform, but also some missing maybe feature parity compared to the competition. So yeah, really the business impact is across so many areas.
Yeah, across the board. And it's very interesting to see how you are evaluating the monetary impact on the technical debt. I guess it's also easier to communicate with your CFO once you mention some of the numbers, right? It's no longer just hey, our developers hate this repository because it's full
Yeah.
of bugs, but suddenly it is like, hey, look, this is the direct impact of our technical debt. What do you, dear CFO, propose to do? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, like definitely, like the thing that with the monetary impact is that it's kind of like a universal language, like with whomever you are talking to. So this is like a very great like anchor point that you can like have a easy conversation with. Because
Mm,
most of the metrics, like even if you come up with some KPIs on the technical side, they can usually map easily to the financial impact. So the lost productivity is, it's almost like losing 20% of the team due to the technical debt. So you can already have some clear calculations on the impact. When the technical debt is so bad that it creates an environment where the developers are unhappy to work at, then basically you can expect some developers churn as well. So like if you lose one developer and collaborate maybe with the external recruiting agencies, then you can already compute the like what might be the cost of like hiring new developers. So like probably they will operate like on a 15% success fee. If the budget for one developer is like 80K per year, then you can easily see that just the financial impact of recruiting fee is going to be like 12,000. And then you have also like the period of decreased productivity, but when a new developer joins, then it will take time to ramp them up and make sure that they can actually deliver the expected value. And this will be the initial period where the entire team is less productive because of the need to like onboard the new developers. So yeah, the developers turnover definitely has a huge business cost.
And it's also a good idea to bring those external agency fees into the discussion
Yeah,
and
definitely.
compare. You can always estimate what is the average salary and then the average compensation. So this is something that the CFO is probably likely to not like, and then favor some of your proposals to tackle as a technical debt.
Yes,
And
definitely.
what about some other areas? You mentioned now recruiting and the impact on developers, but what about the other departments, like customer satisfaction, for example?
Oh yeah, like the customer satisfaction can be definitely impacted by the technical debt. So maybe in our case, so for a very long time we've been migrating platform where we host the applications and all the components like databases and Redis clusters from basically self-hosted to AWS managed services. And throughout like all this long time, we get to the place where there were like many cases where the platform was unstable, and to the extent that customers were reporting that like something is slow or like are you up, because I need like really the platform to be up. This is like very critical, and the impact was real. It was not just like some fortune telling that someone might be impacted by the unreliability of the platform, but that was like real customers that have problems. And if you think about what are the problems of that customers exactly have. So imagine that like in our case, it's short-term rentals industry. And when the traveler is arrived at the apartment and they need a key, basically like they need to know the code how to open the door basically. And imagine that the notifications platform is down because like for whatever reason, and they cannot have like the key available, and they basically cannot get in. And this is like, if you can empathize with the customers, then you can really see like what could be the magnitude of such things like reliability, because it stops being just a number, like having availability of like 99.999 or like whatever, but you really see like what is the actual impact. And well, so then it obviously can translate to the customer churn, and usually you cannot really know like what's going to be the exact impact on the churn. So if it be like 1% or 2%, so like until it happens, you will not really clearly know, but you can predict based on the on the conversations with your customers. And if you experience, for example, like additional 1% churn due to the instability of the platform, then you can obviously map it to the financial impact as well.
This is really cool. Once you say, hey, 1% churn equals, I don't know, $10,000 in lost revenues. or 100,000 or whatever the number is, then you can just have a more meaningful discussion with the other C-level executives, right?
Yes, definitely.
Interesting. And how do you calculate these numbers when you look at the churn? Like, do you look at how much each customer brings per month or per year in terms of revenues?
Yeah, definitely. You can like to get like to different perspectives. You can see like maybe short term, which would be like monthly recurring revenue, and then you can look at the annual recurring revenue to basically see like the short term and the long term impact of the customer churn.
Wonderful. And what about some other departments that you've been working with? You already mentioned the financial implication on lost customers. What about some product satisfaction implications?
Oh, this is definitely a big impact. So like when it comes to the product and tech, then I believe like these are really like two sides of the same coin. I mean, like the engineering cannot really function without the product because it will be unclear how to deliver the value to the customer, and the product cannot really work without like engineering because because they need to collaborate to agree what is going to be delivered to make sure that the customers get the max value within a given time period. So like imagine that you have the magnitude of the technical debt is that you lose like 20 or 30% of the developer's productivity compared to like having really minimal technical debt. So then you will be able to deliver way less compared to what might be desired. And you will need to basically spend time on, well, either paying down the technical debt properly, or you will be basically fighting fires, and a lot of times fighting fires with like some random bugs and having like all these kind of discussions that come back over and over again is way more time consuming than actually addressing the technical debt at its root.
And then you don't develop some of the features that are probably important for those customers that
Exactly.
could drive some new revenue. So this could also be another way how to communicate the importance of resolving technical debt. Like, hey, dear managers, we cannot implement this because we need to resolve the bugs, and this is the feature that would bring a certain amount of revenue.
Yeah, definitely. So there's like really no point in allocating more budget for like either for product or for marketing if you cannot really make sure that you will be able to deliver what is required to make sure that you will get some ROI from these funds.
Interesting. So the discussions with some of the C-levels could be more data driven and not just like, hey guys, we need to resolve the technical debt. What about the discussions with sales guys, with your sales executives, account managers, or chief sales officers? CEO is also interested in sales numbers. Is this also a part of the discussion?
Yeah, and with sales, there's like a very interesting relationship between the engineering and sales, especially if the like amount of technical debt is really slowing down the team, and it makes the acquisition a bit more tricky because then the people in sales can be are always incentivized to deliver more revenue, right? So if they were counting really on some marketing campaign that will like bring more leads, and now basically they know that they will not have these extra leads, they might find some extra ways how to bring more revenue. And in that case, we can expect some overselling, especially if someone like overheard that some feature is like very soon to be delivered or it's almost done. Like the most dangerous term you can use is like almost done. So like the first 90% takes 1 week and another takes 1 month. And it might turn out that some customers like really badly need some kind of feature, and they choose for your product instead of the competition because they trust that this feature is really like they are going to be get onboarded and they will have this particular thing already available because it provides so much value to them. And then like there's a problem because it turns out that if you want to deliver this in a legit way, it will not be possible within some short time frame. So you might actually need to decide either we are not going to deliver it, which is going to be like a very hard decision, especially if you can get a lot of revenue from the given customer, or basically you will need to take even more debt, and which will basically backfire like almost right away.
Yeah, or later down the line.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So the discussions must be really challenging. Everyone has their own interests, especially with sales guys to close the deal quickly, move on through the pipeline. So the collaboration is really difficult. But as you actually said at the beginning, the cross-functional discussions are really important, and having something in common, like the numbers, for example, can help have
Definitely.
more meaningful discussions. Is there some other aspect that is also important when tackling the technical debt, like some legal or compliance?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's impact on the like security and the legal. So let's think about like very basic thing that now almost everyone will understand, which is GDPR. So
Oh
when it
yeah.
comes to like collaboration with legal department, this is in many companies tricky, especially in the earlier stage, because legal is not really like usually not a full-time role. This is mostly like more depending on some task to be handled. So these people can be really like a bit less informed about the business, so they might not really know how to map some things regarding like data protection exactly to the business. So you really need to make sure that you work closely with them. Like ideally, we will have like periodical meetings and basically educate them about the business and make sure that they will really understand what they are talking about, and it's not really some very generic advice. And for legal, which is not really like the first thing that you might have in mind when talking about the technical, that it definitely has the impact. So like maybe it will be more technical example, but maybe just to illustrate, if you have like microservices system and then the personal data is distributed like all over the place. So have you actually taken the measure that you can identify a given person in all the services properly, and they can exercise their right to be forgotten?
Hmm.
So like this is really important that there's this aspect of the architecture and that can impact the technical debt that is really connected to the legal side.
That's a good one. That's actually something that a lot of companies may struggle with. Interesting. I mean, it's just so great to see all of these different angles, how one can look at the technical debt, right? So,
Mhm.
do you have some other tips on how to communicate with C-level executives effectively through numbers or emotions or some other ways?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to like one single thing that could be later elaborated on, but it's basically effective communication. So we can start basically, what is the effective communication? So if you want to communicate something, it's you are responsible for making sure that the second person understands you. So like if someone talks like English and the other person talks Polish, then basically it's not going to be like communication. It will be like everyone saying their own thing. But if you want to communicate something, that you need to really make sure that you are speaking the same language of the other person. So you could start basically with learning like what the other person cares about, and the great resource really is like available probably like on your hands right away. Just speak with the people from different departments, or like when attending the strategic meetings, just like listen closely what is being discussed and like what's really important for them, like what's in for them for the like within this discussion, and this can really take you far. Like the other thing, like for some extra points, there's like this nice saying like learn X enough to be dangerous, and that would be really beneficial for every business leader to have like some minimal understanding how the other departments work and what is really their work about, and maybe get some everyday perspective about their areas of responsibilities.
That's a great one. And it actually reminds me that since we need to find some common ground, it's quite unlikely that the other executives would learn to speak the tech language, right? Because it's so complicated. People are not really into technology, but you as the CTO can learn to speak their language, which is
Definitely.
pretty much the same across the different functions. It would
Mhm.
be cost, it would be profit, it would be revenues, and you can learn to speak this business language and eventually look at some of your initiatives related to, for example, technical debt and present them through the new language of the business.
Definitely. Maybe one extra thing is always important to keep in mind that where all C-level executives are a single team, so they care the most about the business. It's really not about pushing your own initiative because like you want to get like more budget or like get more recognition or whatever. It's really about the business and making sure we are all moving into the same desired direction. So sometimes it might turn out that even if you see the value of resolving technical debt like right away, it might turn out that there are over priorities on the business side that are even more important to prioritize. So even if the technical debt, at least for now, is not getting prioritized, it's still okay. Like you made your point. Everyone really understands what will be the consequences of not addressing it right away. But then, like we all agree that okay, we first will do this because the return on investment will be much bigger, even if we maintain some technical debt, and it will like slow us down. It will mean some extra costs, but like this extra thing is more important. So this is also like a perspective to worth keeping in mind.
Super cool. Awesome. So I'm wondering if is there any kind of last takeaway that you would like to share with fellow CTOs or other tech leaders listening to this podcast? Any takeaway that could help them be as efficient as you are with other tech executives or non-tech executives?
Yeah, definitely. Like the ability to communicate effectively is really such a vital skill for every business leader that if you're wondering like what should be the next thing that you can learn, just make sure that the communication is really like superior.
Awesome. That's a great one. Cool. Well, thanks for joining. Where can people connect with you if they would like to get in touch and connect with you, probably on LinkedIn?
Yeah, definitely. Just so you can type Karol Galanciak at LinkedIn and connect with me. And if you have any follow-up questions on what to bounce some ideas, I'm definitely happy to speak with you.
Discuss technical depth or
Oh
some
yeah.
other exciting topics. Awesome. I'll include the link in the show notes. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for
Thank
sharing all
you.
these insights, and have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too. Really glad that we could have this conversation.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.